We started our business in 2014. So we've came to the Burdekin area here and we've started farming sugarcane, and then we've branched out into our mangoes, and we started planting our mangoes in this region here, and we've probably got close to 20,000 trees that we operate over that.
My father migrated to Australia and was expecting to stay just for a year or so, then decided that he wanted to stay. Back in '75, where he was probably growing on about 30 acres of land, now we're growing on 530 acres of land. So we started with watermelons as a rotational crop, and now watermelons has become our main crop. We supply Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne are the main ports of call.
Farming in North Queensland, you've got a lot of different things that work in your advantage, where you've got the tropical climate that lets you grow crops through winter.
Our climate is probably one of the best in Australia. Weather permitting, you could probably grow 11 months of the year pretty easily.
So in Queensland we've got huge opportunity because we've got a great landmass that's undeveloped, particularly in northern Queensland. We have a really diverse economy. We also have a really diverse environment which breeds the ability for people to develop all sorts of industries.
We've got a lot of good technology in the field for the growing and the irrigation side. I made sure that we're growing as efficiently and as economically as possible, and also as sustainably with labour as well. So all our irrigation is done remotely.
The role with technology in the future, it's just got so much potential. Everything from bringing the cost of production down for us to quality control. There's a lot of opportunity there with technology. So if we can keep growing that area, that really is the future and the way to go.
We've seen recently with the trade issues with China, in which there was concern that that would impact our agri-commodity prices. But because of the work done over the past 10 years in terms of opening up further export markets and really balancing out riskier markets with markets who are very appreciative of our clean green product, we actually didn't see a slowdown in our commodity prices, and they remain strong, despite huge supply as a result of increased efficiencies, better farming practices and the great weather that we've had across particularly Queensland. And it just goes to prove that continued investment in creating markets for Australian agri-produce is going to be really important over the next 10 years.
Currently we're exporting to most countries. We export into Korea, the US, Singapore, Middle East, Canada. Growth-wise, there's a lot of opportunity with India is a new and emerging one that's just opened up for this year, so that'll be really exciting. I'm hoping that there's something in the Europe trade agreement that the government's working on at the moment for mangoes.
We've always said Australian ag needed about 600 billion of capital investment over the 40-year period between 2010 and 2050, and in the last decade, 150. Now we've seen capital inflows of close to 210 billion instead, so much larger than we'd been predicting. A lot of people ask, what do they need to do to be investment ready? And so it's not for us about what does your corporate structure need to look like. That stuff can be handled pretty easily. The ag industry really needs to focus on maturing their businesses and bringing them into the modern world and in line with society expectations. And for me, that's workplace health and safety. That's career opportunities and leadership. And finally, that's diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion is about diversity of thought. And if we're going to be a really strong player on the global stage and attract the capital that we need to, then we need to have that diversity of thought.
You've got to have a passion for this industry. I don't think it's really about the money, it's more you've got to be passionate about growing fresh produce so people can be excited.